Turn on your love light, baby. The darkness will disappear. Turn on your love light, baby. The darkness will disappear. Have no fear, the love is here. So turn on your love light, baby. Be brave, be calm, and have no qualms. The love light is always on. Be brave, be calm, and have no qualms. 'Cause the love light is always on. Oh, the love light is always on. Turn on your love light, baby. The darkness will disappear. Have no fear, the love is here. So turn on your love light, baby. Be brave, be calm, and have no qualms. The love light is always on. Be brave, be calm, and have no qualms. 'Cause the love light is always on. The love light is always on. Lower your chin, bow your head. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Amen. Amen. It looks like Brooke is in. It looks like Regina La Reina is in. We're in bliss. We're in light. We're in soul. We're in peace. We're in the love force. We're in Divine Mother's womb. We're in. Good morning, kids. It's nice to be live with you. Hey, it's nice to be alive with you. Good morning, Amy. Here come the rebels. How's the war going? How's the battle? It's nice to see that you're still siding with the light. Hello, Kimmy, Kim. Hello. Oh, we got Tennessee on here. We got Seattle. We got Bellingham, Washington. We've got Del Mar and we've got Anacortes on here. We got a lot of Washington and Pacific Northwest this morning. And then we have a little old Encinitas. So listen, there's no need to keep sleeping with the enemy. There's no need to be sleeping with the enemy as much as we do. And I know that you guys are now starting to have a new love affair, the ancient epic one, the one that is the real deal for all time, the one between your beloved heart and that infinite lover of that heart, between your soul and the bliss spirit. So let's just burn and burn and burn in that bliss union. You see, you burn in the bliss ecstasy. You hold that steady. You've come from that. That's the highest goal, the samadhi, the Nirvikalpa samadhi, burning in the bliss ecstasy with spirit bliss. And in doing that, you automatically burn your story. You burn what else is going on in the lower frequencies of your mind. That mind that sleeps with the enemy most of the time, that sleeps with your desires that are percolating now and the samskaras that are waiting to percolate. It's sleeping with your illusions. It's sleeping with your concepts. It's sleeping with your next, thing, that the next fling that you want to go on with the senses. So we need to now really understand the importance of what we're up to as soul rebels and the study of the Bhagavad Gita, all right? We're going to be talking about the 6 faults of the ego today. We started in a pre-recorded session last time. I hope you watched it. These are the 6 faults of the material ego, and they're similar to the kleshas, or the troubles that we've gone over, and and all the enemies of Duryodhana and the blind mind. So we're going to start with this idea of greed. She lives at your 3rd chakra. It lives at your 3rd chakra, and it got involved in that, the likes and the dislikes. Okay, hello Joel, we got the powerhouses on here today. But as we go over these faults of the ego, which are really encased in the chakras as well, you're going to get real clear in the next couple of weeks, the good guys and the bad guys that lives in each one of the chakras. And so there's an Armageddon going on. It is an absolute war, breath by breath, moment by moment, in this physical delusion. Did you know that? You know that, don't you? You know that you have to sharpen your sword every morning and every night, and all time in between, that we have to be aware of our attunements every breath, every second, that we have to now completely give ourselves over in complete surrender and humility and helplessness to the amazing grace of the Divine Mother, who does everything in creation, so she does everything through you. And I want you to be in assisted living with her amazing grace. When a breath comes in, that is her grace. When you're digesting your food, that is her grace. When you're walking your feet, that is her grace. And it's just her love grace, So love is moving us here, boss, right? You can say that. Love is walking me here, boss. Say that to the Mother. She's the boss of creation. And in complete helplessness, we surrender into her womb, into her amazing grace. We burn up in the sacred fire, the bliss fire. 1 and 8 of our attunements is pretty similar. 1 is in the body, when we're embodied in the physical body at the root chakra. We're still burning in the bliss oneness, the bliss ecstasy. How often do you guys think of the bliss ecstasy? The supreme goal of all existence, the supreme reality, just bliss oneness. Bliss oneness. You don't forget that bliss oneness. Don't get caught up in the things that you need to let go of, like burn the story. We say that because it's what's happening, but automatically your story burns, and the headaches burn, and your procrastinations burn, and your weak-kneedness burns, and your temptation lures, and all those things that are pulling you down into a lower state of frustrated anger, quite frankly, because that's where frustrations go. All of it burns when you guys are excited about the light. Hello, Bhavananda. When you're excited that today is the best day of the rest of your forever, and that you're not going to give a hoot about sleeping with the enemy, walking with the enemy, listening to the enemy, the manas mind, because you're going to see that at your medulla oblongata, at this Om Shakti Shakti radiant light center, where houses the Om vibration, the Holy Spirit vibration, also is housed Bhishma, the ego, Drona, habit, and Kripa, avidya, ignorance, is housed there. And you have the gatekeeper, right? You have 2 gatekeepers there at your medulla, the blind mind, the Duryodhana mind, the material mind. Although that lust of that material desire is at your 1st chakra, you have the blind mind that is just completely blinding you to going inside and turning up to the divine light, this loving light presence, this divine light commando, this Christ-like commando of the loving light present that can explode the presence in every atom of your body into the infinite light that is creating this creation. You have also the wisdom, the buddhi mind and blind mind. The buddhi mind must make the right choices for you on a constant breath by breath moment, so that you can remain now not sleeping with the enemy of the blind mind, the enemy of you're still doing something in the world. You're still looking at results in the world. You're looking at your bottom line in the world. You can't look at anything, my dear, because you don't have your own power to do that. You are using the power of spirit to sleep with the enemy of delusion way too much these days. And so 2018 has got to be the next reboot, the next absolute practical, you're practical people, how you are going to upgrade and update this practice that we have. Now, if you need my help, you know that's all I'm here on the planet to do, is to help you to do that. And anyone in this group that thinks you're just going to make it on your own, well, we're going to ask the holy ones to really hover over you and shake and rattle your cage until you are screaming for divine help, all right? Till you are screaming to grab onto the hand of Divine Mother and say, you know what, I'm done, I'm cooked, I'm finished. I can no longer operate this human vehicle. I can no longer deal with my own mind. I can no longer deal with my own desires on my own. I'm done. Divine Mother, I admit myself today in your assisted living and your amazing grace. And you become more non-negotiable like Mahatma Gandhi. Do not associate with your thinking mind. Do not associate and kind of negotiate with your mortal desires. Do not keep talking about this stuff, for God's sake, right? And thinking your way around this stuff. No, you cannot negotiate with that part of you anymore. It's got to be a full-out assault on taking your stuff into the light and dumping yourself along with your stuff into this divine light, Christ light commando of the loving light presence, going off here, and the Shakti radiant health going off here, and in your fifth attunement to drop dead to this world, flatline your mind. Don't move a muscle in your body. Flatline your emotions and flatline your personal desires. Be absolutely dead so that you're not sleeping with the enemy of your manas mind, of your ignorant mind, okay? No more bargaining, you know. As Hafiz says, you know, God is trying to sell you something and everyone is frantically finagling over the price. Well, what does this mean? What do I have to give up? God, how much is it? How much is it? I don't think I can afford that now. I have to check my finances. You know, I have to save up for you. And that's just a big lie, because you're still putting off the inevitable, being completely annihilated under the sun of love, okay? Annihilated. You're dead. How many people in your life did you lose this year? Huh? Just kapoosh. They vanished in thin air. Some loved ones probably, or friends of loved ones, right? Or friends of yours vanished in thin air this year, or last year, I should say, right? Gone. You'll never see them again. Yeah, poof. Here we go, one by one. Poof, gone. Where did they go? Well, we really went on a vacation, you know. We really ran on into an inner world to have a little respite from this war. Or are you guys still trying to chisel out a pain-free, as best, you know, grace-free, you know, so a lot of little earthly vacations, are you carving that out to escape the real battle that needs to take place in 2018? Huh? I don't know. I know for myself, unless there is a fire underneath the fire of my pursuit of excellence, we can call it, of my pursuit to be all that I am, we can call it, of my pursuit to be me, there's no me greater than my me is God, nor do I recognize any other me but God himself. There's got to be a fire underneath a fire, underneath a fire, underneath a fire, remembrance underneath a remembrance, underneath a remembrance, underneath a remembrance, and each one of you kicking up to kick it up for the group. Each one of you to kick it up for the group. Don't wait for me. Don't wait for anybody. Don't wait for your husband. Don't wait for anything. Got to kick it up, and you kick it up for the group. All right? You know, you bring something to the table now. For God's sake, you bring something. It's a war. And I know we're all bleeding right here as we sit here. All right. So here are the 6 faults of the ego. On that last one for last December 26th, we talked about lust and anger. greed. Here's the third one. Ego makes one enslaved to his whims. Ego makes one slave to her whims, so that she fails to scrutinize and judge the errors that might be ingrained in her conceptions and ideas of things. Every conception you have and every idea is erroneous. The ego has entrapped you into thinking that that is what you don't even think. You just hold a conception. You just have an idea in your mind. All of them. Is that bliss ecstasy? Huh? Is that inner peace with no mind? Huh? You have to always kind of look at it in terms of the ultimate truths and say, oh, no, it's way short of that. It's way short of me being absolutely contented in Divine Mother and having no expectation of any outcome. I don't care how life goes today. I don't care about my work. I don't care about how it's going. I don't care about anything except that I am being graced to do what I do. And that is a bonus, and I do it for love, and I put love into it, and I give the rest back to the universe. Now, there is a way to escape making more karma today. You know, I mean, just repeat those things that we've looked at in these last weeks. You know, you have the ignorance, the avidya, which says that this world is something other than pure spirit bliss. You have it all turned upside down, that this world and the TV shows that you want still got a big grab on you, right? You're still sleeping with the enemy. 2, that you've handed over your soul power to the instruments. Your mind's got you by the you-know-what. Your emotions got you by the you-know-what. Your mortal desires got you by the you-know-what. Then you have your likes and dislikes. Then you have your body attachment. That's 5. Then you have the thing of still making material karma because you forget to be in the entombment. You forget that you're just now in that compartment that is just so conditioned over lifetimes of work and doing things for the ego. Then you have the latent desires that come from even a thought or a latent samskara, a habit, tendency that comes from even thinking about the darn thing. You have those in your spine waiting to just pop up like a weasel and scare the bejeebies out of you and bring you down for the count. And then you have the latent desires. Still you have lurking desires, all right? So we looked at all of those. And then we looked at this massive Kaudava, or the enemy's army, and it's the 10 senses. 5 of perception, 5 of action, and then the 10 propensities. Each one has 10 propensities and tendencies, and so that's 100. And then you have those 100 sense tendencies training eliminable sense temptations, so that you have a whole bunch more on the kudu side, armies upon armies of eliminable sense tendencies. Then you have other Kaudava forces that are all designed to destroy you today, to make sure that the moment you forget about being in the attunement and just kind of going about still escaping the Armageddon of being victorious over yourself all day long today, it's going to pull you right down. And now finally we have the 6 faults, and I just mentioned we talked about kama, lust, king material desire last week, and anger, and now greed. And ego makes one enslaved to your whims, so that you fail to scrutinize and judge the errors that might be engraved in your own conceptions and ideas. You don't even consider that they're in error. You're too busy rationalizing around them. You're too busy talking about them. You're too busy trying to figure them out. Under this influence, he or she acts not for the sake of duty or righteousness. What is our duty? To wake up. What is righteousness? To be divine. But to fulfill undisciplined whims. From childhood, most persons are conditioned to be governed by their ego and hence led by their feelings and guided by scheduled likes and dislikes. And folks, if you don't have parenting classes, or grandparents, if you don't go to some kind of parenting classes, so you know that you're not helping that child by giving in to their undisciplined whims, their likes and dislikes, I don't know. You keep spinning around and keep sleeping with the enemy. This enslavement to whim, likes and dislikes, is lobha. Lobha is the Sanskrit word, greed. It is covetousness, avarice, acquisitiveness, a confusion of the mind between necessary necessities and unnecessary necessities. What is your greatest necessity, friends? What is your greatest necessity? I would hope you might say something like, in just this moment, in this breath, in my heart with my beloved. I would hope you say that your greatest necessity is God consciousness today, as the greatest necessity to surrender into the assisted living of Divine Mother's amazing grace and let her take care of all of your egotistical desires and all of your whims and undisciplined whims and all of your likes and dislikes. You know, as long as you have energy in the body, we usually abuse it. We take it for granted because we still have undisciplined whim desires for this and that, right? And we still have a big attachment to the outcome of our life. So there's only one way that we can deal with that, is to not negotiate anymore with that ego side, not to negotiate anymore with your conceptions and perceptions. It's not negotiable anymore. It's only 8 choices we have, 8 attunements of the heart, and 8 practices. Night and day, we practice the 8 attunements. Anything else we do not negotiate with, we do not cooperate with. Exactly. My relationship with God, says Jolene, is her greatest necessity. It has already been shown that the Kaurava warriors, Karna and Vaikarna, attachment to material action and to repulsion to what is disagreeable, are the roots of likes and dislikes. Therefore, of the faults of the ego, Karna and Vaikarna represent lobha or greed. So listen, we're in the 3rd chakra, and that's where lobha, greed, and Vaikarna and Karna live inside your 3rd chakra. So you know straight away, this is the enemy inside, is the greed and the likes and the dislikes, okay? And you also know that this is Krishna, the love blaster, that's blasting love right now in your 3rd chakra. You know that we right here, right now, we're loving this. So why we talk about the enemy in the 3rd chakra, let's be love blasting, because that is our focus now. Turn on your love light, baby. The darkness will disappear. Have no fear. The love is here. Turn on your love light, baby. Love blast. Let Krishna love blast her. Let Krishna do it. Let the love force of this universe do it through you. You cannot have an ego and that beautiful opening for love force to blast through you at the same time. You can't have your little undisciplined whim desires and likes and dislikes and have this love force coming through you at the same time. All right, buddhi mind or manas mind, sense mind, choose. The gatekeeper's either going to open up the valve for the cosmic energy to come in, so you have the strength today to choose only the light side, or it's going to close off that gate, the manas mind, so that you really don't have the energy. You don't even care about it. You're just going about life in that conditioned automatic mode that we have for so many lifetimes. The most common form of greed is man's ungoverned appetite for food, but the following principles apply equally to any expression of the ego's gluttony. And the ego's gluttony is to let that thinking mind rule the roost. That ego's gluttony is to let your emotions rule the roost. That ego's gluttony is to see that someone in your family is off track and you're not happy with that, so you need to change them. The ego's gluttony is the same about looking out into the world with your likes and the dislikes. The ego's gluttony is avoiding today to be in the boot camp training of your existence on your own, without anybody there to say, come on, let's go, we're going to do this now. You got to be your own drill sergeant. You have to be your own Arjuna that's saying, come on, let's go. Today we fight. Today we win. We win battle after battle after battle after battle after battle, because we got the love light on, baby. We have no qualms. You know, we're brave. We're calm. We have no qualms because that love light is always on. And we're fighting harder just for today, moment by moment, than we ever had before. That is the way that you and I can have victory today in our third chakra. And that's just one of the chakras. I told you before, you know who the bad boys are at your medulla oblongata? You got ego, you got ignorance, and you got habit. And all of that is to prevent you from making the wise choice here. It wants to obliterate your choice point. It wants to obliterate your wisdom. It wants to smother you with some conception and idea that you have about outer life today, that you just don't have time to breathe a deep breath of God. You just don't have time to be walking in amazing grace with Divine Mother because you're too occupied with that erroneous conception and idea that has been conditioned over lifetimes. And every time that you allow that to happen, it becomes more of a samskara, of a habit tendency. It becomes more of an impression. It becomes more karma. It becomes more of a latent desire. That's why I asked you this morning, how's the war going, baby? Not how is the family, how is your new year, what is the resolutions you made? How is the friggin' war going in this daily battle of life in the most despicable planet there is? How is that? Yogananda said, planet Earth is one of the worst places in creation. One of the worst places in creation because it's so radically dualistic. He said there are far better dwelling places than the planet Earth. So to forget that we are behind enemy lines and sleeping with the enemy on top of that, to forget that is going to create more misery in our lives. So the following principles apply equally to any expression of the ego's gluttony. Depending on the power of its influence, greed may be insatiable gluttony, mental attachment that dwells on the thought and desire for food, even when the body has been well fed. Powerful greed that is unquenchable until health is ruined, as in overeating and wrong eating, fully knowing the consequences of doing so. Medium greed, possible to be checked momentarily, usually when it has produced suffering. And mild greed, often labeled harmless indulgence, but which is never so. It is most covetous and avarice display. Greed leads to stealing, dishonesty, cheating, self-gain at the expense of the well-being of others. Every time you look at someone and you see a fault in them, something wrong in them that you are analyzing or have an opinion about, or you are judging, and that goes with when you look inside yourself, that is a part of gluttony. That is a part of greed, because it is at the expense of the well-being of yourself and others that you are thinking those thoughts. If man or woman allows herself to be conquered by greed, her life and spirit will be ruined and shattered by suffering. You don't think it's an Armageddon today? If we allow ourselves to be conquered by greed, our life and spirit will be ruined and shattered by suffering. You know, I don't get scared by all this stuff, but I do, in the sense that it just turns me to the light side, and I need to practice on the light side. But I don't focus on this side. I don't look at this and then try to rid myself of this. I just double my efforts on the light side. I double my efforts in seeing if I can be non-negotiable when the negative thoughts and the eliminable sense temptations and my analysis of life and whatever else, my forgetfulness comes into play. I rout that enemy right on the spot. That's what I do. Krishna warns the devotee Arjuna that the threefold gate to hell is lust, first chakra, anger, second chakra, and greed at your third chakra. Therefore, these must be abandoned, non-cooperated with. These must be slayed by the power of your joy, by the power of you and the Heavenly Father, just holding out and starting your party of reunion, right? You and the bliss cosmic flames, just, you know, whoo, And we're dancing in the bliss fire of bliss oneness, ecstasy, because our whole consciousness is focusing on that. You and the light commando that can just in a moment just bring this loving light presence into your, from the inside out, exploding out into all that is. And this Shakti Om radiant health, and this master Mushin, this masterpiece where Yogananda, Sri Yukteswar, Larry Mahashai, Babaji pull you into the inner worlds and bless you. And there is not a pin. You can hear a pin drop. It's so still. It's so silent. There's no movement. Now, what are we moving about for? How restless are we most of the time still, right? When really motionlessness, vibrationless joy is the reality, right? So we check out at the master Mushin or the master peace point. And then we have this amazing love affair going on. As you love me, I love you too, my divine lover. Or wave after wave of divine love is crashing on the shores of my heart. Breath after breath, wave after wave of divine love crashing on the shores of our heart. And then love blasting, love blasting. Thank you, Krishna, for love blasting. I don't care what's happening right now. I'm going to work. I'm going to check the bottom line. I'm going to check the numbers. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get more clients. But by God, I'm loving. I'm loving first before the desire for me thinking I'm going to do that for a certain result. I am loving. You are loving through me, Krishna. And then Divine Mother's amazing grace. I can't do any of the above unless Divine Mother's grace is allowing me to do it. So she's got me smothered in her love, cherishing love, and her forgiveness and compassion as she walks me and talks me. So really every breath I thank her for doing whatever it is that is amazing grace that I get to do. Move my hand to write, talk on the phone, use my voice, use my heart to even feel all of the above. And then the soul rebel, the humble warrior, I just bow in the fact that right now in the body I am burning in this joyous expectation, anticipation of my oneness with spirit, always and forever. And it's a bliss oneness, and it makes me so happy to know that I don't have anything to do with me. I never had anything to do with me. I can now non-cooperate with anything that is going to bring my consciousness down from the most high place to remember the truth, as I just mentioned, the eight attunement. And there I am as a soul rebel, constant remembrance. On my soul's altar I tend the sacred fire of constant remembrance of thee. Ram Ram Sita Ram Sita Hare Rama, Radhe Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Ram Ram Sita Hare Rama, Radhe Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. You know, along these lines. All right, see you later, Joel. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you very much, kids. Stay warm. Joel's in Minnesota, kids. They got minus temperatures out there. And Bobby's in the same boat almost in Detroit. Okay, here's the fourth fault of the materially guided ego, misguided ego, delusive ego. It's called moha, delusion, in your heart chakra. So you have an enemy called delusion in your heart chakra. This fault of the ego suppresses the evolution and manifestation of the soul. So this fault suppresses or depresses in your heart. This is what depression is. Suppresses and depresses what I just mentioned as our practices. It depresses and suppresses that urgency for you to be practicing as the energy coming through me is suggesting that we practice, that we rev it up for our second day in the new year, right? Ego is the pseudo-soul, or the consciousness under the influence of delusion. Ego is the pseudo-soul, or your consciousness under the influence of delusion. LUI, living under the influence. This is why I say sleeping with the enemy. Your consciousness under the influence of delusion is the ego. Under the delusion that this outer world is what you think it is, that people wearing these outfits and the colognes and all that, and it gets you every single time, right? And then you take that. If you take that and buy into it for that moment, you are taking it for really real, rather than seeing it just as the glitter parade, you know, of all fake jewelry and fake gold, and it's just waving at you and say, "Look at me," and you don't decide, no, I'm going to turn my attention within. I'm just going to breathe my breath in this, just breath in this moment in my heart with the beloved. The soul and ego are light and darkness, respectively, unable to live together. You wonder why it's you a hard time being contented, why you have a hard time being at peace, because you can't live together. You and your ego are bad bed partners, and yet you're sleeping with that ego. The ego's got your ear, and it's got your heart, it's got your choice point, right? And that's, but we're not happy. We're so discontented. We're so worried. We're still so in fear, right? We're still got all those things that are the kudus still reigning. They've taken over our kingdom of body mind during our young years, when we rolled the dice to play with the sense temptations and brought back all those latent tendencies and latent desires, and boom, did we get ousted out from our kingdom, maybe even at 3 years old, 4 years old, all depending on your upbringing and the karmas and all that kind of stuff. We were gone. And now we're getting a little bit of an inclination. We want to gain a little bit of happiness back, and boy, it's an Armageddon, right, to gain 1 inch of our soul territory back. The soul and ego are light and darkness, respectively, unable to live together. Ego and soul both are subjectively conscious entities. They're subjective. They're not objective. The soul in its truth is very subjective, because it's the truth. Your soul as this pseudo-soul or the ego is subjective too, but they're conscious entities. The ego is born and conditioned. The soul is immortal and unconditional. The ego is circumscribed by age, when you believe in age, by nationality, when you believe and have your biases around nationality, likes and dislikes, karna and vikarna. See, the ego is circumscribed by these things. Form. How do I look? Possession. Wish for fame. Personality. Pride. Attachment. Everything that serves to circumscribe and limit you. Non-negotiability, non-cooperation, which anything that serves to circumscribe and limit you, my dear, we do not cooperate with that. We have no time for that. We go right to our attunement. We go running into Divine Mother's arms and say, I can't deal with myself anymore, Divine Mother. I'm just going to let you handle this. And I'm going to feel like I'm in assisted living, and she's feeding me, she's walking me, she's helping out that situation. She's saying, don't even think about it. I got it covered for you. It is the consciousness within man, the ego, that connects him or her with her body and environment through the instruments of feeling, will, and cognition. As it is true that the material man cannot be self-conscious, this is cool, if ego is subtracted. We cannot be conscious of the little self if the ego is subtracted, right? If we're not cooperating with it, if we don't give it our attention, meaning that our feeling, will, and cognition is turned over to the light side, and the practice of our attention, the focus of our attention, the ego is subtracted. So it is true that ego cannot for long remain disassociated from its binding inner and outer environment if you are giving it the time of day. If you decide, I am not having to deal with my ego, it's too strong for me, I hand over my life to Divine Mother, to the fire of bliss union with Spirit. I hand it over to the truth of me and all the divine consciousness within my chakras, and I do not cooperate, I do not negotiate with the ego. It loses itself there, and there is no attachment. When you don't think about the problem, you have no problem. When you are consumed in the truth of things, this unreal personality of yours and its attachment to be circumscribed and limited across the board, it disappears. All right? It's a good thing, right? That's what we want. So moha, delusion, is the basic attachment of the ego. It's indivisible cohesion to delusion. So in your heart chakra, that which suppresses and depresses, circumscribes, limits, tries to wipe out any good feeling, to wipe out any sense of just being tranquil in your heart, any sense of a breath where you can just visualize the true love, the pure heart in your heart. It does everything it can to destroy that possibility within you. And it's working breath by breath. So, oh soul hero, we need to work in just this breath, in this moment, in my heart with the beloved, right? It's vidya, individual delusion, represented by the kudu ally kripa, which we've discussed. This illusion of individuality produces the ego or I consciousness as that which perceives and experiences through this individuality. I, me, mine. Moha is the ego's attachment to this delusion, causing the mind to be darkened, unable to perceive what is truth and reality. That's why, oh Mushin, master peace warriors, peaceful warriors, that's why we flatline the mind. It can't be darkened if you flatline it. It can't be darkened if you're not using it and not believing that the mind has become the instrument, which is the so-called reality. Remember, that is ego. When the seer, the soul, the pristine you hands over to the instrument of your mind all its soul power and says, mine, now you take over. Now I'm gonna be a servant to you, as negative as you want to be. Imagine that. Imagine that. Causing the mind to be dark and unable to perceive what is truth and reality. The word moha means delusion, illusion, ignorance, bewilderment, infatuation, attachment. But in addition, it means a magical art employed by to bewilder an enemy. In the Mahabharata allegory, moha is represented by the kudu Shakuni. Don't mess with Shakuni, brother of the first wife of the blind king, Dhritarashtra. Her name was Gandhari. Sukani was noted for his mastery of illusion, winning battles through deceptive bewilderment of his opponents. It was Shakuni's counsel that urged Duryodhana, King Material Desire, to challenge the 5 Pandavas to a game of dice in which they were forced to stake their kingdom. The game of dice that you and I rolled when we were maybe 11, 12 years old, maybe 6 or 7 years old, 14, 15, 16 in our puberty and in our adolescence and our teen years, and we rolled those dice, and those dice were rigged because they were being rolled by delusion, and we lost the kingdom of our purity. We lost the remembrance of any divine qualities that we may have been cultivating in previous lives, and our kingdom was handed over, and we were ousted from our kingdom. We did that story some weeks ago, months ago. We told that story. Shakuni was the one responsible. Shakuni threw the dice and by clever deceit won all from the Pandavas for Duryodhana. When the symbology of the characters is understood, the meaning of the allegory cannot be missed. Through the dice play of delusive sense temptations and material lures, the soul and its divine discriminative qualities are banished from the bodily kingdom. You've been banished, kids. We're trying to get back 1 inch of our soul territory. You know that, right? But the dark side is not going to give you one little microscopic partial of a milli-inch back without a war, a battle to the finish. The consciousness of man is therefore ruled over by the ego with its 6 faults. Through this attachment to delusion, the proscriptions of human limitations are made firm. The ego not only gives human beings the consciousness of certain positive things that they can do. This is it. You want to know really what we need to be aware of today? The ego also negatively influences with the consciousness, the consciousness of limitations of what mortals think they are unable to do. I will reread that. The ego not only gives human beings the consciousness of certain positive things that they can do, but it negatively influences with the consciousness of limitations, with the consciousness of limitations of what mortals think they are unable to do. This is the most dangerous aspect of being under the subjection of the ego regime. This is the most dangerous aspect of being under the subjection of the ego regime. That is called sitting on our duck. That is called, if you want to just plateau, you're going to be caught in an undertow. It is, there's no still point, resting point for the soul warrior. We're either attacking, taking our stuff to the light, or we aren't. And if we aren't, we are in that most dangerous aspect of being under the subjection of the ego regime, because it limits us from thinking that we can do something to help ourselves. It makes us believe we can't do it. It obstructs the potentially omniscience and omnipotent power of the true self, the soul. To break this attachment to delusion is to allow the soul to express its supremacy of happiness, its supremacy of contentment, its supremacy of more love in your heart today than yesterday, its supremacy of loving through the day, loving through obstacles, rather than whatever else you may want to consider doing. That is to allow the soul to express its supremacy, establish its influence, and enlarge the manifestations of its infinite possibilities. So we covered greed this morning and moha, delusion of the heart. Greed is in your third chakra. Delusion is in your fourth chakra. We have two more, pride and envy, coming up next week. All right? But the whole moral of this story, my friends, is that focus on the light. Turn on the love light, baby. The darkness will disappear. Have no fear, the light is here. Turn on your love light, baby. Be brave, be calm, have no qualms. The love light is always on. Be brave, be calm, and have no qualms. The love light is always on. All right, well, thank you, loyal soul rebels, for being on live this morning. We'll see. Maybe tomorrow we'll pick up the Facebook streams, but we're going to maybe kind of create some newness about them. I don't think they're near going to be as long. I don't think they're going to probably be as regular, right? I'm just sensing something, that sometimes a good thing, too much of a good thing, is not a good thing anymore, all right? So we'll see how that flows out, but I might give one or two of you a little heads up in the morning tomorrow at 7 for our Facebook our love stream, and then I'm waiting for all of you to come kicking back to me some great ideas how we can rev up this ship, all right? How we all can kick in something that can rev up our intensity level in this Armageddon that we are facing every single day, all right? I can't wait to hear from you. And lots of love to you, Kimmy. And lots of love to you, Mrs. Clark. I know that Lisa and Jim are meeting with me once a week online. Brooke and Mike are meeting with me once a week online. It's making all the difference. And in any way that I can support some of you others. And Jolene, we meet every day online, on phone. Babananda, any way that I can support you. We need sponsorship, just like the AA program. We need to not take for granted and put kind of somewhere up there near top, but not quite the top dog, our spiritual life, right? We got to make sure that baby is up there numero uno, and we've got to be in recovery program with it like never before. This recovery from ignorance is absolutely no joke, but it's worth every ounce, every inch of our effort, to make sure that this life is the life, that this moment is the breath, that we remember the beloved in our heart, that we pull out our sword of wisdom and just slash away that manas mind. We don't associate with that. We do not cooperate with the limited mind and the thoughts and the perceptions and ideas and everything else that goes on humanly within us. It's not allowed. It's not negotiable anymore. There's only truth, nothing but the truth. So help us, divine beloved. And so shall it is, and so shall it will ever be. All right? How does that sound to all of you? Give me a holler. I know you need me. I know that we all need each other. I know that we all need the next level, because 2018 on the outside, whew, I wouldn't want to be anchored deep on the inside and be living in this year 2018. Let me put it that way. So lower the anchor, baby. Submerge in the eternal light. And Regina, we can continue, after this week too, because once on a roll, once on a divine roll, we got to keep rolling. We got to keep that roll until it's spinning, and that spinning starts to elevate us more and more. And the soul takeover is so for real, kids. It's so for real to have an absolute soul takeover as soon as possible. Right here, right now, loving this. Oh, I get to be with Mikey at 9 a.m. I so look forward to it. I love to see the light come on in each of you. I love to see how your soul is kicking in to influence you. It's the real influence for you. Don't buy into the other. Yeah, true nature, man. True nature. Don't buy into the other. We're just not going to cooperate with it anymore. I can't tell you how powerful is this idea of not negotiating. Non-negotiables, baby. Across the board in 2018. It's magic. It's been magical to me with Tom. It's the true nature of our souls to do this. Nice. All right. Love you. On and upward. We're a great start for the year 2018. Draw out your wisdom sword. It's a weapon of love. Call on your soul. It's on a roll. And fight with love. Slash away the dark. Fight with love. And bring on the light. Come on and bring it. Bring on the light. Come on and bring it. Bring on the light. Come on and bring it. Bring on the light. Come on and bring it. Bring on the light. Yeah. Great to see you, Mickey. I miss you, Mickey. We all need to have a roundup soon. Maybe even sooner than the April immersion that I've got scheduled. Yeah, sooner than soon, okay? Maybe that's what we all put our heads on together with, and our hearts mingle together and come up with something in the meantime. Huh? That's way too far away for me, is April. All right. Love you. And we'll see you in the morning. Let's plan on a little stream in the morning, 7 a.m. on Facebook. All right. Toodles with oodles of love. We're in.